Hi, everybody. Part of the requirements for this course is that you create an academic paper and give a professional presentation, and you're going to have to do some research around these activities. So you need to understand the difference between your opinions and research. Now, your opinions are going to find their way into your writing and your presentation, but the foundation is going to be based on reliable, the scientific method is going to be used in this research in published journals. And so I bring this up because sometimes students will choose a topic and they have trouble lining it up with research. I'll give you some examples. These are actual student topics, and as I read through them, you're going to get an idea. Like me, you might say, oh, I agree with that. That is a good topic. I think it's true. I would research that. Or you might flat out say, oh, well, that would be a waste of time. It's not true. So just watch your mind as I read these topics, and you can kind of see where I'm getting at. And so the first one here, the healing power of crystals. Ghosts are real. A young earth and Noah's flood. Sweat lodge toxin removal. Astrology and the number 11. Alien encounters and reincarnation. Now, these topics are important to somebody, right? Maybe they believe it wholeheartedly and they want to share, or maybe they're just really interested in it and they want to learn more. The problem is when we start to look at the research and things don't line up, and it becomes a really big problem when some of these assignments get submitted, like it slipped through under the radar. And now afterwards we have to go back and maybe redo parts of it and have tough conversations. And it's never easy to have someone say to you, well, you really can't say that, or what you said isn't true and it's not reliable, and so you need to fix it up. Nobody wants to hear that, so we're trying to catch that ahead of time. And what makes it difficult is sometimes students will say, well, look, I've got a website and it says it right here, and they've even done tests here on this website, so what's wrong with it? Or maybe they say, I've been to a specialist and this is what the specialist says, or I follow a doctor and here's what that doctor says. When we think even beyond that, we wrap free speech around that. I'm just free to say almost anything I want, or I'm protected by the Charter of Rights. My religious beliefs are protected, so I can believe whatever I want. So why, when I'm writing this academic paper or giving a presentation, why can't I just say whatever I want? It reminds me, I was a plumber for a few years before I got into teaching. And I remember one summer I was working, out under the sun and went to the job site. I had my hard hat, my steel-toe boots, but I was wearing shorts. And the manager, he just wouldn't let me on site. And I began talking and arguing with him. And eventually he said, look, you can wear shorts as much as you want. You just can't step foot onto the job site in shorts. You have to have long pants. And so it's this industry standard, right? And so that's when we're thinking about saying something professionally, giving a presentation or writing a paper or a proposal. There's an industry standard. We have to be pulling our information from places that are reliable. So this reliable research, you've got professionals that are documenting their procedure the whole way through. They're creating a hypothesis and a theory, testing it out, usually multiple times. It's best when they get a third party, someone that's not interested, to also test it. Many times they're trying to prove it false, actually. But if it's robust enough and tested enough, then they can go through that vetting process, get their research published, and then sent to a trusted journal. And that's what we're trying to tap into. Now, I'm not saying that those journals out there don't have mistakes in them. Everybody makes mistakes, but as much as we can, we're trying to use the reliable, trusted, the scientific method so that we can have kind of evidence to back up what we're saying to support some of our opinions. So, what does this do to our topics, especially when we really want to talk about some of these things? And so I'll just give you some examples. I'll just choose 3 of them, but I remember the one about the crystals and being a little bit it was a problem because the person is like, Brian, when I hold the crystals in my hand, it just relaxes me. And, I couldn't argue with that. Fine, you can think that, you can believe that it relaxes you, or maybe when they rub it on their face, it'll do something to the muscles and relax the facial muscles. Fine. But to say that crystals have the healing power to remove acne, or to put them on your head and it'll drain your sinuses and heal your head cold, you can't say that, because at this point there is no and we have access to the medical journal, so we can look it up. There's no medical evidence that it does that. In fact, the opposite is true, and that's a really good point. Whatever your topic is, whatever you believe to be true, research the opposite position. research it in reliable ways. Okay, and when we do that, we found that, of course, people want to know if crystals have healing powers. They've run tests. They've got plastic placebo crystals and given them to the groups and blind tests, and they don't have healing powers in those ways that the student was hoping that they did. And so we had to reshape the paper a little bit. Same with Noah's flood. Someone really believes something is true, but there is no evidence that during humanity's history that the earth was covered. And I mean the entire globe, all the mountains, and then 20 feet or 6 meters more of water on top of all the mountains around the earth. There is no evidence in the geologic record of that. And so you can't write as though that's true. And that's sometimes really difficult. Another one was the sweat lodge toxin removal. So the idea was that going through the sweat lodge process, the sweating removes toxins. And so again, we can make different claims about what it might do as far as relaxing. And so we looked it up. We looked at the research, and there was some ideas of saunas, right? In certain countries, people spend a lot of time in saunas and doing tests there. Sure, if there's dirt in the pores and sweating can do that as far as clearing up skin. It also showed some evidence of changing heart rates. But as far as removing heavy metals from the body, no. The liver and the kidneys do that. And so that's the power of research, and it just makes your presentation, makes your paper stronger to be able to learn the skills on how to do reliable research. And so we want to catch that ahead of time. I love talking about this stuff, so please reach out once you do have a topic, and we'll start to investigate together. It's fun. I'll talk to you soon.